Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers have practically built themselves.
Okay, so last week in part 2, we finished up with the arms, the fingers, the legs, and we got the eyes together right at the last moment. Now, remember, wound up making 4 of these little guys. This was actually one of the first ones I built. This one is sitting. He's going to be holding a ray gun. You can see that I've got a couple of different color pool noodles here. Here's the thing. If you're going to do anything with these pool noodles, you need to choose a color and then match the color to the pool noodle. Not use a pool noodle and try and paint over them, because painting over them is an absolute disaster. And yeah, I'm a knucklehead. I tried it, and we'll get into it here in a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and get the antennas going. You want to get as close to the color that you want, and this was kind of a medium green, really close. Took 3 of them, twisted them together, left it in a Y on each end, because I'm going to use that to glue it to his head. Then I'm going to cut this in half. I've got these little styrofoam balls, put a little hole in them, and just hot glued them onto the end of the antenna, and we'll go ahead and paint those in our apple green. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know, I decided to go ahead and paint with this craft paint, this royal blue. It looked great. I thought it was going to turn out absolutely awesome, so I went ahead and used that to paint my aliens. Now, with hindsight being 2020, don't use craft paint. It didn't do too bad on the plastic pumpkin part. It was fine on the wood, but when it came to the pool noodle, you'll see here in a little bit, absolute disaster. Okay, so here he is. You can see where I've painted one arm already. Looks pretty good. I've painted the body and some of the body, and yeah, that looks really good. And I think it's going to be the color that I want to go with. Again, big mistake for thinking. You really need a paint. If you're going to put anything on a pool noodle, it's got to be a paint that's flexible. So I'll just kind of leave that there. And here he is, painted with the blue. Looks good. I've got a little bit different feet on him because I was doing an experiment, and I decided to toss those and go with the wooden plaques. But all in all, you can see he looks pretty good. As soon as I put the gun in his hand, though, he was lopsided as far as the weight, and that caused a whole lot of other problems. The hot glue just kind of disintegrated out in the elements, so that was a disaster as well. And here he is. You can see the paint. It's faded in the sun, but it's still holding to the pumpkin and to the wood, but not to the pool noodle. So I'm going to have to strip as much of this off as I can and go back and repaint him. So what I decided to try next was some Krylon enamel, hoping that it wouldn't eat the pool noodle, and it didn't. So I tried some of this gloss true blue, and actually it turned out pretty good. I even tried some industrial enamel, the same color that I used on my...
Now for the hand. So you can see I've got him upside down here, resting comfortably. So I've got the arm out, and I've put my Gorilla Glue on the inside of the hand, propped it here so that it's not going anywhere, and then I've propped it here with this at the right height that I want. And so I've got my Gorilla Glue now in there working its magic. I may have to put a little bit more on it. We'll see what happens when this coat dries. Again, I've got to make sure that this is glued very, very well. So we'll see how that goes. But so far, so good. we're about finished.
So here's my little sitting alien with one of the uh, feet combo that I tried that I again didn't like, but his his color looks good. This was the first standing one on the left that I did, and I tried something else with the hand, with a much smaller hand or palm, and I just didn't like that, so I took that off and gave him a larger hand as well. You can see the haunted forest tree that my son bought that is animated, and that's going to be really fun. We'll put that out in the yard with them. So we'll start putting these guys out in the yard. Like I said, I built a total of 4 of them, and here I think you've seen 3, but the 4th one, I decided to try and do something else. So I put a peg leg on him. I thought it would be kind of fun to have a pirate alien. I Once I tried it, I didn't really like it a whole heck of a lot. What I did is I took a dowel and ran it all the way from the body down to nearly the ground. Went ahead and put a little plastic point on. This actually came with my umbrella, and you can see the other parts here that I've stained and painted, and it turned out fine. It looks really good. The problem is I decided to go ahead and cut this off later on and put a regular leg on him. So as far as the alien spaceship, I got a patio umbrella off of Amazon, real cheap. Got this bowl from the dollar store. I got these skewers, got these little plastic plates and these little plastic bowls, and that's what we're going to make it with. Also, I decided to spray it with a Krylon metallic color, kind of an aluminum color. There's other options, but I decided to go with this. And so here the bowl is with the little antenna on top, which was a great idea in theory, but it broke several times when the wind knocked over the UFO, and we'll talk more about that here in a few minutes. But anyway, went ahead and sprayed it, put it down with hot glue, not the low temperature, but the high temperature hot glue. That seemed to work pretty well. The same with the bowls. I tried a low temp, and that didn't work well at all. So I had to use a high temperature hot glue. Went ahead and got a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket, and some zip ties, and zip tied that underneath. I think it looking pretty good so far, but in the wind, the umbrella, the bottoms of it would flap. I'm going to need to anchor it down, so I bought this off of Amazon, thinking this would probably do the trick. And it is heavy duty, and it will hold it. As you can see here, it is in place. It looks pretty good. I went ahead and glued those flaps up with the high temperature hot glue. That solved the problem of it flapping around. It actually looks pretty good, but in a good stiff wind it would still blow over, and it broke the top several times. So here it was with the top originally. I'm going to put the aliens out there, and starting to look pretty good. I've got 2 of the aliens out there, and as I'm continuing to build more. So I want to put a power box out there. I got this off of Amazon, real inexpensive. Run a cord to it, a power strip to it, weatherproof, doesn't get wet at all, and then I can put some slime lights. I can put up that tree, that animated tree, and I can plug all of this in this box without anything getting wet. Also, I wanted to do fog. So I bought these little tubs for like $1.50 each at the dollar store. And what I'm going to do is I've got 2 of them. I'm going to do a top and a bottom clamshell type of thing. And I'm going to put my smoke generator in there. So I measured out the top and the bottom, what I was going to need to cut out, and here you go. I've got the opening there for the hose for the fog machine, and then I've got this back part that I've cut so that the top can just lay right down on it. Very simple. This took me 30 minutes start to finish to build this whole thing, and again, I want it easy that I can get into it, turn it on and off without any problems, but I also wanted something that was going to keep the elements out. So here's my fog machine. I've gone ahead and got some juice in it. I've custom made an outlet so I can put the hose on it. Nothing's going to melt, but yet it's still going to be directed out of the box the way that I need it to be. So now I thought about a bunch of different ways that I could engineer this, but I wanted something really easy as far as the clamshell part. So what I decided to do was punch a couple of holes on one side and just put some twine through it, and there you go. I won't show you the end of it. I just painted the box black and decided to stick it in the flower bed. So here they are. We got them all set up. We've got our spaceship. You can't see the power boxes because they are at the far end, pretty well hidden by all the foliage. And I did get some string lights that I put hanging down from the alien spaceship. And for one last touch, I went and hooked up some slime lights right in front of this whole thing. So I think this is going to turn out really well. All right, folks, here is the final reveal. Here's what you've been waiting for all this time.
And I said, I have mine in my place, and it's in the perfect spot.
Grab my chapstick. I forgot the chapstick. Okay, so that orange coat in the backyard's got to be thrown away. The first one I want done.
How's this look?